I'm a software developer manager at kunga.com, and I handle their mobile platforms. And it covers the native apps, Android apps, iOS apps, and recently the progressive web apps. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my journey so far, being an engineer. A few months after I started at Kunga, we had been shipping code after code after code, product after product. And then the director of engineering called me one day, and he told me, we are bringing in a senior engineer to come and review your code. He called me and my team. And we were all very like, why do we need a senior engineer? We've been doing these things for how many years? Senior engineer. Of course, we didn't tell our director that. But when we go back to our offices, we all thought of it and we all spoke about it that, who is this senior engineer? What is he coming to do? We just don't get it. We can code. He'll come. He'll meet us here. And a few days later, the senior engineer came. He sent an email with this very detailed review about so many things we were doing wrong. Itemized them. He had gone through our code. He had broken it down. And quite naturally, when we got his email, we felt like, what's this guy talking about? Is he the one that will teach me how to code? I've been coding for the past how many years? He can't tell me what to do. We'll reply him. We'll defend every single decision we made. And so we started to pick each of the things he outlined one after the other. And then we'll go through it. We'll realize that, we don't really have a response. Let's go to Google. Go to Google, check whatever concept it is he mentioned, check to confirm that what he recommended was actually best practice, and we'll compose a reply. Just find a way to just defend what we've done. And the more we tried to reply, we got to a stage where we realized that for each thing this guy said, we had to take a trip to Google. We did not really have an understanding of some of the things we had done. And at a point, we just had to look at ourselves and tell ourselves that perhaps he has a point. And so we stepped back, and one after the other, we started to fix some of these things. And so far, when we had gotten towards a particular level, we realized that that defensive posture with which we started, we approached it. If we had gone forward with him, we would have missed a lot of information. We wouldn't have learned a lot of things. And so my question to you today is, do you know what you do not know? There are a lot of things we think we know, but we truly don't know them. Do you know why things work? Is there anybody here that has never done copy and paste from Stack Overflow? Yeah, we all do it. So, for us software engineers, Stack Overflow going down is like the end of the world, apocalypse. Which is quite fine, really. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong in learning from what someone else has done, in not reinventing the wheel, so to say. There's absolutely nothing wrong in going to Google, typing in your problem, finding a solution, and copying and pasting. I think where we now start to fall short is when we stop after we paste. After you paste, read the documentation, understand why that stuff works. Do a little bit of research. Don't just take that code, paste it, and it works, and we're deploying. It works, I did it. You didn't do it, someone else did it. So take your time to invest that extra effort, that extra 10 minutes, and go through whatever it is that you have copied and pasted, understand it. Do a little bit of research. Why does this thing work? Why did this code snippet solve this problem? And that solidifies your fundamentals. Next slide, please. You can also attend Android Dev Summits. So it's very easy to say, after all, I am not in the United States, and therefore these guys have a lot of these conferences happening at their backyards, and so they are able to just, probably with one flight, attend some of these things. Some don't even need to take a flight to get there. But you see, every single one of these summits upload their videos to YouTube. And so follow the ecosystem. Keep track of the things that are happening. And when there's a new development, you can always track it online. You have access to every single information that someone else on the other side of the world has access to. And so we have no excuses. Android Dev Summit just happened. Oh, I wasn't there, and therefore I don't know. I didn't know that with Android N we can now do shortcuts. No. You have the access to this information. Next slide, please. Blogs, podcasts are worth gold. You see, after you listen to some of these speakers talk, research about them. A lot of them have blogs. A lot of them have podcasts. Follow their blogs. Read. Subscribe when you're done. And just keep track of the new developments that are coming in. You see, keeping track of new things, make sure you're well-rounded. It ensures that you're well-rounded. It keeps you aware of the possibilities on your platform. I'm not saying that because there are now shortcuts on Android N, that's the next feature you will deploy. Because maybe most of your users are not even on that particular OS, but understand the possibility. And so when you're faced with a challenge in a few months' time or next year, you will remember that, oh, the Android platform is now capable of this particular feature. I can now do this, I can now do that. Perhaps this is a way to get across to our users. You see, in imbibing the culture of learning and constantly using the things you learn in ways that are unique to your customers, ultimately, you become the front runners in your immediate environment for some of these technologies. You become the first ones to deploy these things. You find new ways to engage your users, and things are changing every day. Every single person here knows that if next year you come to the world of Android, the things you had last year will seem outdated. It doesn't mean you should go and rewrite your legacy code. But at the very least, understand what is changing and keep abreast. Subscribe to a couple of newsletters, subscribe to a couple of blog posts, and generally learn. Next slide, please. Resilience. Sorry, previous slide. So I know a lot of you have come outside of Lagos here today, but for us Lagosians, this state is brutal. It's brutal, you know. You wake up by 5:30 because you are working on the island. You didn't get enough sleep, you know. That 5:30 on your way to the office, perhaps you had a row with someone, one driver that felt like he's a poor worker. He wants to come and do Fast and Furious for you on a Ikorodu road. And you are like, I must show you today. Me too, because I'm wearing suits. You know, that kind of a thing. By the time you get to the office, you're already exhausted mentally. There are so many things in our environments that are fighting to stop us from getting to where you want to be. But keep pushing, you know. Don't let these things stop you. Continuously face these challenges head on and move on to the next one. I'm a strong believer that the best software developers are the ones who push through whatever block they face. Not necessarily the most intelligent people in the room. Those who never give up. Those who will always find a way to find a solution. So my first Android code ever, I had never written Android before. Yes, I had been writing software for a few years. .NET, PHP, a couple of web solutions I had. But I had never really done Java in a serious manner before. And Android, instead of me to go and look for something my own size, my first app, I had never even written I'd not even done Hello World. The first thing I decided to do was to build a chat app, a file transfer app using Bluetooth. And I didn't even own any Android device. So I needed 2 devices to talk to each other. I did not have even 1 device. I'm not really sure what I was thinking back then, but I decided to go for the biggest challenge my mind could muster. And it was tough. For months, I did not have anything working, nothing at all. I couldn't get this simulator to talk to that simulator. It was just crazy, and I just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. At times, I'll just go, I'm giving up. But then I'll come back the next day. I'll still push. So the first day I successfully logged a message from device A to device B. After I saw that the message came in, I just closed my laptop, crossed to the streets, to the eatery nearby, and I just took a cold drink. Like, hey, now we're getting started. You see, resilience can get you anywhere. However things connive to make it seem impossible, always push through. And the more you push through today, the more you push through today, the easier it becomes to get through the next challenge tomorrow. If today you face 10 obstacles and somehow you manage to battle those 10 obstacles, if it took you 1 hour to battle them, tomorrow it will take you less time. And as you grow, it takes you less and less time to face to surmount these challenges that you face. Next slide, please. So you need to be extremely focused. There are a lot of distractions, especially as young people. There are a lot of things vying for our attention, social media. You can use the internet to your advantage if you want. You can spend 24 hours online and achieve absolutely nothing. And you can spend 2 hours online and achieve a whole week's work that someone else will do. And so it depends on how you let the things around you distract you. Use them to your advantage. Who do you follow on social media? Is it, what's this guy's name? Sub delivery man. So basically, use the information available to you to focus on what it is you want to do. Filter, as these things come in, filter what it is that is important to you. Do not get distracted. Next slide, please. Yes, cheats. So when I think last year, I had a new boss who was the VP of mobile engineering. And he called me and sat me down, and he told me, I want you to get to where I am in a shorter time than it took me to get to this place. If it takes you the same amount of time it took me to get here, then I haven't done something properly. You see, I have gone through a lot of challenges. This is him speaking. I have gone through a lot of challenges. I have learned over my career, over my journey. And these things that I've learned, you should not have to learn them again from scratch. And so what I have learned over 10 years, I am going to compound that information. I'm going to compress that information, and I want you to learn it in 1 or 2 years. When I say cheats, use people who have been down that path to get there faster. Find a mentor. Find someone in the community that you think, this is where I want to be in the next few years. Find the right mentor. Next slide, please. Not just a mentor, find the right person. You see, the mentor-mentee relationship is mutual. The mentor himself gains a lot by giving back the information to you. And so find the right person with which you can connect, who can help you on that journey to getting to where you want to be. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then teach. So do you believe that if you are able to teach someone how to write Hello World, you will never ever forget how to write Hello World? If you're able to teach someone something successfully, you can't forget it. And so if you think that by teaching you are wasting your time, you're actually helping yourselves. It's one of the best ways to learn. Even some of the people you see teaching, some of the people writing tutorials, they didn't know it before. But you see, that journey of writing that tutorial, it helps them to internalize this knowledge. And so teach. A number of us here have blogs. Not everybody. But it doesn't necessarily have to be via a blog post. It might be the guy next to you. It might be in school. It might be the guy you work with. Share your knowledge. By sharing your knowledge, ultimately, you're helping yourself learn more. Next slide, please. And so this is the summary. Know the things that you do not know. It's very easy to think, I am the best because I'm in one little corner. But challenge yourself to come out. Challenge yourself to come out of whatever box you're in and to be able to stand side to side with any software engineer from South Africa, with that software engineer from India, with that software engineer from Silicon Valley. If you're hiding in a room, it's very easy to think, I am the best engineer out there. It's very easy to think that you know everything. but challenge yourself to come out and be able to speak, let your voice be heard, and be able to stand at par with all other software engineers around the world. Understand why things work. Do a little bit of research. Stack Overflow should not be our king, our only king, because I mean, it's everybody's king here, but not our only king. After copying and pasting that code, go back and understand, read the documentation. Documentations are your best friends. You have access to all the resources you need. The internet is our best friend. Google is our best friend. YouTube is also one of our best friends. Be resilient in the face of the challenges that we face in this environment. And we do face quite a few with the NEPA issues. I know of software engineers who learned how to code in cafes. Yes. They learned how to code cyber cafes. Whatever the challenge, they just find a way to push through it and get on to the next one. And stay focused. Don't let the things you have access to distract you. Filter the information coming your way and choose the one that is important to you. Get a mentor. Find someone who is where you want to be. Start a relationship with that person and compress all of this knowledge that he has learned over the years. Compress it and learn it in 1 year. Do these things, and I sincerely believe that you're on your way to becoming world class. Thank you.